We've been playing better, for sure. I mean, the last 4 or 5 matches, our numbers have been, obviously very, very good. It's a tribute to our backcourt, and also just the team mentality of just kind of working through this season and pushing and wanting to get better. And it hasn't been smooth for probably 5/8 of the season, but the last part is when we want to peak, and I think we've been able to get our team to that point, and we're playing good volleyball right now, and we'll see if we can continue keeping that rhythm over the next week.
Has that been the biggest difference with this team and maybe some of the ones of the last 4 or 5 years that have been really good all year, and this was just kind of coming on at the right time?
Yeah, this has been a little bit different. Obviously, our middles had to take a big chunk of responsibility on that. Morgan Johnson and Yazzie have committed to, one, is getting themselves in the best shape possible, and I'm so proud of them for that. But Morgan had to move from an M2 position to an M1 and become proficient off of 1 foot, which is, it takes time to be able to do that, and she wasn't very good at the start of the year, and now she's coming along and playing really well in that position. And Yazzie's never played middle and has the right mentality, but now is understanding that position at a much higher level and becoming a 4. So what's happening now is teams are having to respect them, and it's opening up all our positions to get some one-on-ones and some seams and allow our pins to have a little bit more success.
Jerritt, do you feel like you guys are taking off and not even close to where they could be with 4 games potentially left?
Yeah, I mean, we'll see when we get to a little bit more physical teams, but I feel like we're definitely taking off. And it's, it's funny kind of how you see the teams or perceive our team, but a lot has to do with Nicole Dalton and Kat McCoy and our outside hitters passing the ball and playing defense. Chloe's playing much better defense than we have. Our blocking has become much better. I mean, every facet of our game has become better in the last 2 or 3 weeks, including our serving. So what's happening is we're managing our game at a higher level. Our kill percentage, meaning our number of attempts and divided by how many kills we get, is at a much higher percentage, and that's what we need to keep doing.
So what has to be different as you say you start playing more physical teams? What has to be different as you move on?
Oh, I hope we can sustain the same level we're playing right now. If we can have the same kind of ball control and success that we're having, then we'll put ourselves in a position to at least compete for the W. And right now we're just trying to refine a couple things and get more film on teams, so come up with a good scout report and get them to be calm and play together.
I'm not trying to get you to look past BYU, but were you surprised Kansas lost to Creighton? Was that
Well, it was, obviously it's a surprise because they were the 5 seed, but they've been struggling as of the last month. I think they won a lot. They were 7-0 in 5-game matches. And a lot of those 5-game matches came at the end. And it's hard. I mean, as being there as a coach, when you start winning for 2 months straight, it just becomes a little bit different pressure on you and a different kind of mentality. And it's the first time that Kansas actually was the hunted as opposed to the hunter. And there's a different responsibility that goes on with that as well. And, Creighton's a good volleyball team. So they had some opportunities. They didn't convert. And, it's obviously disappointing for Ray and his program. But as I told my team the very first night, you never know who's going to get to our region.
Is it disappointing for the Big 12?
No, I think our Big 12 has had a really good run so far. I mean, I think it's showing that we're getting better. We had a lot of teams in the second round, and Kansas State lost 17-15 to Ohio State on their home floor, I think, Kansas State's home floor to go to the Sweet 16. So our conference is getting better. We know that, and we felt that this year with the way that the teams kept coming at us.
Generally speaking, across the coaching profession, was it well liked to go to this top seed hosting format? I mean, I know you probably like playing at home, but how is it viewed across all?
Yeah, I think we're trying to grow the sport. We're trying to become a tier 1, and the only way to do that is by making enough money financially to be seed 1 through 64. So this is one of the steps. I think there was poor preparation in understanding, thinking forward in terms of how this works. What happened is we have 4 central teams in the same time zone. I heard today that Nebraska has to do their pass and serve at 7:30 a.m., which is, it's ridiculous. I don't know how many people are going to be watching at 11 a.m. on a Friday. And so we need to kind of get a day in between. I think we need to play like men's basketball and women's basketball. We need to play Thursday, Saturday, 2 of the regions, and then Friday, Sunday. The level is getting too good, and once we do that, we can get better fan attendance and we can get better TV ratings, and that's what our ultimate goal is, because our sport is kind of taking off, And we know that, but we just need to be able to think a little bit more ahead and get organized as a.
Is it a TV thing or a money thing? That they don't want teams staying longer or missing more class or whatever?
Well, well, we have to vote on it as an organization, and then the athletic departments have to vote on that. So it's an AD thing. You know, once they approve that, and then we can push that forward to the NCAA. I believe that's the structure, the way it goes.
Has that been proposed over?
It hasn't really been proposed recently, and I think we need to. I know it's. I talked to our head president, Kathy DeBoer, yesterday, and said, "Hey, we need to make sure this is on the docket to discuss at the head coaches meeting." It's on the docket. You know,
Is that a no-brainer that the coaches would support?
it's a no-brainer.
Jared, is it ever difficult for you to step back and not take this for granted that you're in your 11th straight Sweet 16? I mean, do you ever realize what you've done here?
It's crazy. Yeah, I was thinking about it yesterday. You know, the thing that was going through my head is that you take that for granted. You know, it's how hard it is to get to a Sweet 16, and you look how hard, you know, how many programs, you know, dream to get to a 16, and that we're able to do that over a period of time, and the success that we have is amazing. But we don't. I think the one thing that we talk as a staff that this could be our last time. That's how frugal this profession is, and you know, it's what I'm always trying to tell our staff. We cannot relax. It's easy to do, but it's kind of becomes actually more stressful for me in terms of just trying to replace the players that we have constantly, and because if I don't do that and we drop off to become a Sweet 16 team every year, it's, you know, people are asking what's wrong with Texas.
Memories of BYU, a little bit painful?
Oh, I moved on. You got to have a short-term memory as a coach. You know, it's a different team. I think it's you know, they're well coached and they're really good. I think they're 28-3, and I just got the film in right now and just watched about 10 minutes worth before I came up here. But they're good, and you know, every year is a different year. And so right now we've got an opportunity to. I've got a good feeling about this group. You know, we'll see if it pans out, but I like how hard we've worked. Because to me, it means that they put in the effort to kind of get to this point, and they want it. And you can see it by their energy and the way that they're looking each other in the eye when we're playing, and they're committed to each other, and the chemistry is really good right now.
They fell down 9-1 in their opening match and comes back. I guess it speaks to their resilience.
Yeah, you've done your homework. That's good. Yeah, they were down, and you know, their WCC freshman of the year kind of hurt her ankle, and she didn't play in that match. So we're expecting her to come back. She took a couple swings in that game, but was taken out, and they replaced their setter. So I don't know what, you know, they've got obviously maybe a little setting situation they got to figure out of who's going to start. But overall, you know, they're a very, very good team, and so we'll get our team prepared and just, you know, battle. My biggest concern is, can we get enough fans in our seats at 3 o'clock on a Friday afternoon? I'm hoping a lot of people take a sick day or leave a little bit early or get that permission. But the more that you guys do to keep promoting this, it's a big opportunity for us, because I know we'll sell out on Saturday if we're fortunate enough to advance.
How do you evaluate the sets you their strengths?
You know, they've got a very good libero. They've got a really good freshman that's, you know, can take a ton of swings. They've got a middle that was there when they beat us a few years back, and their opposite's playing very well right now. So, you know, they've got enough pieces where they can hurt us and put us in some difficult situations. And, you know, we'll see kind of what matchups we get and how we kind of attack that and see, you know, where we want to align with them. But, you know, they're 28-3. They've got the capabilities of being a good volleyball team.
What's Chloe meant for your program?
Chloe, it's been an amazing run with Chloe. You know, she committed when she was so young, you know, at 14 years old, and you know, it's just been kind of she's a lifelong Longhorn. You know, when we offered her, she was ready to commit right there, and we were telling her to take some time because she was so young. But you know, she loves the experience. She loves putting on that uniform, and you know, the relationship that we've been able to grow and has been special. I'm gonna really miss her as a person. But she's also playing the best volleyball I've seen her play since she's been here. You know, she had some little patches throughout the year that weren't as good, but you know, we had the seniors over, and since that's happened, she's been playing at a high level and re-energized and focused, and I'm really proud of her for that.
Was that emotional, her graduating and playing?
Yeah, it's always emotional. You know, they both, Paulina and her graduated both at noon, so I couldn't make both. I had to meet with both of them.
Yeah.
At least she had a lot of family there, and Tanya went over to hers, and I went over to Paulina's because her family wasn't there. But you know, fortunately, we do it every year. So usually it's this weekend that they do it. So we at least got a weekend early. So that's done with, and our seniors can focus on being good volleyball players.
Any thoughts on Creighton, Michigan?
I've not seen them yet. I mean, the staff will prepare and get them organized just before we go, but right now my full attention is to BYU.
Creighton winning at Kansas speaks.
Yeah, I mean, we knew that they were good. They're one of those teams that's probably, you know, I've never seen them on film this year, so I'm sure, I mean, they're really good ball control, and they've got probably a lot of good arms and can play steady for long periods of time. So, yeah, in Michigan, you know, I think I know they have a big win. I haven't had a chance to look at exactly what they've done, but they're from the Big Ten and have played some big matches.
What about Nebraska, Penn State? Who you like?
Well, you got to take Nebraska at home. You know, they're going to be really good in front of a sold-out crowd of 8,000. And but you know, this game is very fickle. You know, when you make mistakes and give teams points, it's a lot different than basketball, where other teams got to earn it. You know, so it's a different game.
Anything else, guys?
Cool.
What can we do to sell this place out?
Appreciate it.
Give away free food to fans.
Free food?
That draws anyone in.
Permission slip to skip work early, Coach? You got one written
Yeah,
out?
the entire city of Austin, actually the state of Texas, has permission to take the day off. I'm giving it to them. If anybody wants to talk to me, they can reach me.
We'll give a cell phone number.
Yeah.
Anybody?
That burner
Well,
phone.
hey, put it on Twitter.
876-5309 is my cell phone number.
Hey, Coach Downey.
Go put it on
Well,
Twitter.
let's just look this. I think all of us have been to Gregory, and when it's packed, it is rocking.
Yes.
What do you think it is? Is it in this case, the time is tough.
Yes.
No question, but how would you tell someone who's never seen a game on LHN or been to Gregory? How would you sell it?
I think it's like Duke basketball. You know, there's an energy that comes in there with the student section and the bands, and everybody's just right on top of it. You know, I compare our women's volleyball team to the city of Austin. Nobody ever comes to Austin and say that's a terrible town. Nobody ever comes to our game and says that's a boring event. It's more about educating the people. You know, the people that, you know, you look at Nebraska and they sell out every single match. You look at Hawaii that's getting 10,000 because they're educated from the city. People don't understand the physicality and the speed and the energy that this game brings. And it's, you know, I'm biased, but I think it's a great women's sport that brings a ton of passion and experience. And, you know, it's, you know, we're the one team in the fall right now that needs the support of Austin right now. And it's, we've got the opportunity to get back to a Final Four and compete. But it's, how do you explain it? I think you can only experience it by going. I mean, you can talk about it all you want, and you can have these people probably have an image in their head of what women's volleyball is. They probably think it's like a picnic, and it's like, oh, it's all right, or some, like, you know, low-level high school volleyball. But it's, you know, the higher the level goes, this is a world-class sport. And, you know, countries like Italy and the rest of the world, I mean, they pack it out. If you saw in Poland, they had the World Championships last year. They had 57,000 fans, and they sold out in 3 minutes. You know, Poland. I mean, Europe is crazy volleyball. I mean, and so that's what I'm hoping to get to, is we just need to keep having people come experience it, because it's really, and it's a great family event. You know, your kids get to, the one thing that's different between our program and, let's say, men's football, and because you can touch our athletes. They're on the floor, you get to take pictures with them, you get to take autographs with them. You know, you can sing the Eyes of Texas with them. So it's a great sport also to be a role model for young women and young little girls to be a part of. And it's, you know, we try to create a little bit more as a family atmosphere with that, and it's special to be able to have that. And it's important for parents to get their kids here to see that and experience that for them.
Were you assigned to 3 p.m. match?
I don't know. Listen, I'm happy we got the 3 p.m. We could be playing at 11. You know,
Right.
I mean, as I said, Nebraska has their pass and serve at 7:30 a.m. I mean, it's nuts. I mean, this has to change. This has to change. I mean, the host seating is great because the fan attendance will be huge. I mean, theoretically, every team should be selling out for the Sweet 16 and Elite 8, and so then your number is going to go up dramatically. You know, I'm still pushing a different format, which would be more like baseball, where you play Sweet 16 2 out of 3, and Elite 8 2 out of 3, and then, you know, we would double our attendance basically and become a Tier 1 sport.
You're not alone, are you?
I'm alone. Well, there's a couple coaches, Minnesota coaches with me. I think Illinois coaches with me. I mean, it hasn't got all the way out there yet, but it's. We just need to think more business-like. You know, what does it take and how does it go? And I mean, who doesn't want to watch us play Florida last year again after we beat them by 2 points in the second night? I mean, we would have packed it out again, and then there's a good chance that could have gone 3.
But would you want to do the Final Four that way?
No, Final Four is just regular.
Be a one and done?
Yeah, 1 and done.